Money FM 89.3. Best of breakfast. Companies to watch.
All right, welcome to Companies to Watch. And to help us along, we've got Dan Koh. Good morning.
That's right. Good morning, Ryan. Happy Wednesday as well. And welcome to Companies to Watch. I'm Dan Koh, taking you through a segment where we spotlight and stock you up with ideas of listed companies that may very well call for your attention. So, from the likes of market trends to risks that might be overlooked, I want you to stick around as we explore the markets for hidden gems and warning signs to steer clear of. And of course, I want you to be involved in this conversation as well. So when we're done, send us a text at 88550893 and tell us whether you think it's a hot or not. Shall we begin, Ryan?
All right, always try to look for stuff that's in the news. So
Yes.
what is at the top of your list today?
Okay, the top of my list today, before I tell you exactly what it is, we're turning our attention over to the automobile industry this morning because it seems like this year, many global brands are re-evaluating their product offerings in 2025, and that comes amid a shift in trends and possibly consumer preferences as well. So, Ryan, I'm going to start by asking you a question. What do you often look for in a car? Think aesthetics, comfort, drive.
Yeah, it's got to look nice. Like, you've got to feel like you paid what you're
Exactly.
getting for. So I suppose it's got to look sleek, the latest technology, and I suppose end of the bottom line is the price got to be right.
Exactly. And that is certainly what a lot of people are looking for, especially myself. And I think it's quite an exciting time for us consumers because I was just at the Singapore Motor Show just last weekend and I saw a lot of innovative designs and tons of facelifts of cars and EVs. It almost feels like we're stepping closer to a futuristic world. I mean, think of a dance car. Well, they still face a lot of headwinds, though, including the likes of global competition from China-based brands, regulatory uncertainty, as well as the slower-than-expected electric vehicle adoption back in 2024. So, let's dive into the topic today. And this is something that we've seen a lot in theaters, flying cars, self-driving vehicles, and in fact, if you do a quick search online, you'll probably find some of these innovations existing. So, instead of looking at flying cars or self-driving vehicles, how would you like a car that can hold a conversation with you, Ryan, while you're driving solo? Or maybe one that you can share with your deepest, darkest secrets.
It's quite an intriguing thought, right? Instead of having to hold on to the wheel, maybe you might want to talk to your car. Hey, turn left, turn right at the next traffic junction, this sort of thing. So it's quite interesting if I think about it that way.
Well, that's happening in the near future, Ryan, because through a partnership with Alphabet's Google, Mercedes-Benz plans to roll out a new CLA coupe that incorporates an artificial intelligence-based virtual assistant to give you directions and answer your questions.
All right, it's quite
Any
interesting.
question you have in mind for the car?
Like, what's the fastest way to get to the nearest restaurant selling char kway teow? Maybe
Yes.
it could answer that question.
It could certainly answer that question because the so-called MBUX or MBUX virtual assistant is designed to listen to the driver and use AI to offer suggestions even without a clear prompt. So I want you to think of ChatGPT style, the kind of questions you would ask.
Right. So it might even know what you need before you even ask it and suggest prompts to you and so on.
Exactly. So it's basically like talking to an expert on the drive on virtually any topic that you may have. Yeah. So, if you look at the cars, like in these days, we've got early voice recognition systems, but they're fairly clumsy and they struggle with natural language and couldn't often answer questions. So this would definitely change the game for Mercedes because Google said that the system will be able to handle complex multi-turn dialogue as well as retain memory of conversations. In fact, the automaker's CEO wants you to think of the virtual assistant as your personal butler and to do anything and everything in a car. So according to him, it's basically Jarvis, the fictional AI assistant in Iron Man. For those who are looking to get the car, and if you'd like to experience this AI assistant, the classic wake word would be, "Hey Mercedes."
Oh, okay.
This is pretty much like, how you call your Siri, right? "Hey Siri" or "Hey Google." And that would activate, the access point to the service. So for instance, let's say you're traveling out at night and you're looking for a place to eat with your family, and you're trying to figure out maybe what's the best Mexican restaurant along the way, but traffic is bad. So you can go on to Mercedes and ask, is there any other restaurants like the Mexican restaurant I'm looking for that could be around the area? and the AI assistant will find one immediately and send you there directly.
Wow, so it's almost
cool
like
is
a
that?
parallel is playing out in the car space as it is in the phone space, where phones are trying to stand out against each other with new services, and cars here are trying to stand out with these updates on their software platforms.
Exactly. So Mercedes plans to roll it out in Europe this summer and add to the system of the US vehicles in the fall. So this is certainly going to be a plus for me for the company, especially since it was reported recently that its car sales dipped last year as the German luxury automaker struggled with weak demand for pricey models in China as well as EVs in Europe. So the 3% decline was obviously led by a slump in deliveries in China, where we see a lot of these home local brands being well liked over all these other huge models like the S-Class and the Maybach. So from weak demand for EVs in Europe and stiff competition against BYD, it's no surprise that we've got Germany's automakers struggling to keep up with the world's biggest auto market. But still, Mercedes car sales picked up slightly at the end of last year with a strong performance in the US. So couple that with a chatty car, I suppose that'll keep people talking about Mercedes for a while.
All right, let's talk about what is the expectations of where the stock is going.
Okay, for now, I suppose my verdict would be a hot. All right, then that's because, the stock as of year to date, it's up 4% to 55.55 euros. We've also got Tip Ranks, Yahoo, and Barron's rating an average price or target price of 68.26 euros with a buy rating. So that's pretty much all we have for Mercedes today. So if you're trying to find novelty in the fiercely competing automobile landscape, Mercedes-Benz is definitely one to watch, especially since its CLA will be the first vehicle to include this feature. So before we end, Ryan, here's a fun fact about Mercedes. Do you know what the 3 points of the star represents?
No, what does it tell?
So it basically represents land, sea, and air. Everywhere its founder hoped to put its internal combustion engines into service.
Well, big
It's
dreams.
pretty cool, right? So there we go. Goodbye, lonely drives, and hello, Mercedes.
Before acting on the information on Money FM, please consider if it's suitable for your own investment objectives, financial situation, and risk tolerance. To listen to more great interviews, download our podcasts at audio.sg or download the audio app. That's AWEDIO, audio at the App Store and Google Play.